Sometimes you find yourself playing a game and thinking, wow, this game is great, but it should be on a phone. I wish it just would. Sometimes you just find a game that you think is awesome, that is really fun to play, but you do wish it would be on your phone so that you can play it in short sessions on the go while you have a little bit of spare time. Today we're going to take a look at Morphblade, a game by the developer Suspicious Developments, and I'm going to tell you why I do feel like this, especially for this game. What we have in Morphblade is a hexagrid that you can see right now that expands on as time goes by. And what I mean by that the game is set up into different waves. On each wave you have to kill a certain amount of enemies. If you complete a wave, you unlock more of these hexagon files. Tiles. And as you progress, you unlock more types of enemies, more upgrades, more abilities, and the whole area gets a little bit more complicated. So let us just play a little bit, and I will tell you more as we go on. This white little thingy here, that's us. And on the right side, we have a normal bug, which is a normal enemy that moves 1 hex, inflicts 1 damage, and dies in 1 hit. So we click on it, and we push it to pieces. Now what you saw is that we have these 2 tiles here that are now not completely empty. So now we get to pick one of these 2 fields to unlock it. Unlocking that triggers the next wave, as you can see in the top left here. Now we're in wave 2. We killed off the enemy, we get another field, we activate the field, and we are in wave 3. That is how you progress through the game. Now obviously, as you can see, these fields have different kind of symbols on them, and some of them even have like weird triangles on them. What do they mean? Well, this game is separated into 6, or these tiles are separated into 6 different categories. Let me just quickly check if we have everyone, so I can take each one of those as an example. Or I can die and restart again. So let's do that. And we're just going to talk about the fields as we go on. The first one here, the very basic one, is a hammer field, which allows you to kill an enemy that is 1 hex away from you, like this. This one is an arrow that allows you to move 2 hexes in a straight line and I think just push enemies away? Oh no, kill enemies that are in this path. Next up we have the teleporter, right? That allows you to jump to any tile that is unoccupied, for instance like this. We have the blade that pushes the enemies on the side away, if I remember correctly. No wait, it slices through things on the side, so technically you were able to kill 2 enemies with it at the same time. We have the heal field that I am right now, which, well, as it says, heals you. You can take 2 hits, no, 1 hit before you... You can take 2, no, you can take 1 hit and the second hit kills you. I'm just gonna explain that. And I think finally, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, and 6 finally is the acid field. Which... What does the acid field do again? Yeah. It strips enemies of their armor, which obviously is something I haven't talked about. And we won't do that in that match as well. Basically, you have different types of enemies that you're going to find throughout the game. The completely normal ones are these that are just called bug. As you progress through the game, you will find that there are different enemies such as the upgrade bug, which upgrades the hex that it dies on. Upgrade is something I'm going to talk a bit later about, so ignore that more or less for the time being. We have armored bugs, which are those that, well, their big thing is you have to hit them twice. Or, actually no, never mind. What am I talking about? Normal attacks only push them back. You can either use acid, as it says on the info field here. Either you can attack it with acid upgraded weapons, or you can make them move onto an acid tile, which will, as you can see here, strip them of their armor, which will allow you to kill them. We have pusher bugs that only shove you back instead of damaging you, which means that if you are next to like a dead zone, they could push you off and kill you. Which also is another option for you to, in fact, damage the enemies. Or not just damage the enemies, but kill the enemies. Would you please? No? Okay. You're not interested in coming near me, alright. Okay. This guy is a shooter bug, which will just shoot in a straight line from any range, and if there is no enemy nearby, it will kill you. Which means to me right now, I have to figure out a way. That is a way. As you can see, I pushed him off, and he died from that. Or not necessarily died, he just got pushed off. And there's a difference between killing an enemy and pushing them off. Quite substantial difference, actually. Because now we're going to talk about the upgrade part of the game. As you can see, we have a couple of fields that have these triangles on them. And what these triangles mean, they're basically experience, I'm just going to call it. And if a tile gets 6 experience points, you get to upgrade it. How do fields get experience points? Well, it depends on the type of field it is. If it's a field that allows you to kill enemies, such as the hammer field, the field gets experience when you're on it and killing an enemy adjacent to the tile. If it's a tile that does not give you an ability to kill someone, such as the healing ability, or the heal field, go away, it gets experience each time an enemy is killed on the tile itself. And if a field gets 6 experience point, or an upgrader bug is killed on a field, you can pick one of these upgrades, which basically gives one type of field or one type of tile the effect or the additional effect of another tile, at least in some form. Because as we can see right now, we have 5 different options here to pick from, and what each of them does is shown here on the left side. Every enemy who attacks you is knocked back. That's boring. Kills the first enemy to attack. What? Kills the first enemy to attack you here each turn. Okay, so if an enemy is on this field and attacks me, it dies? Sounds like that. Let's see. Wait. What am I doing right now? Did I just screw myself? I might just have screwed myself a little bit here. Because the armored bug, I can only push him back, but that would mean this guy attacks me. If I attack this guy, this bug will push me away. I think, actually, I might be able... Haha! There we go. There we go. I think that was all types of enemies. No, one more. There are also explosive bugs, which I hope we'll see throughout the video, that destroy the tiles they're on when they're killed. So those are types of enemies you want to push off. Otherwise, you don't want to push them off because you will not get experience for pushing enemies off. So those are like the 2 things you have to keep in mind. That's another pusher bug and a normal bug. Oh, well, of course, I forgot. I forgot the tile I'm on. What do we have? Let's do this. How do I get... Okay, now I want to get this guy once again to an acid field, and then I want to be able to kill him. Oh wait, you're an armored shooter bug. Haha, never mind. I cannot get you to this acid field because under no circumstances you will move inwards, I think. Actually, apparently you will. Ouch, that was totally dumb. Let's just push you off then. On the left side, you can also see how many enemies each wave still has left. We can see like this 1 circle here, and we have 2 enemies here. So in total, 3 enemies before I'm done with this wave. Can we let them get through us? Yes, we can. So now that we've talked about pretty much all the mechanics of this game, except maybe the fact that I'm also gonna die right now. Well, that was dumb. I just completely screwed myself. That was stupid as hell. Okay. Now that we talked about that, except one more thing is that you have the ability to wait for a turn. Why would you want to wait for a turn? Well, if we get a little bit further into the game, you can see, for instance, wait. I'm sure there's going to be a good option to display that in a second. Yeah, let's pick this one. You do not have to make a move each turn, but the enemy will generally do... I think they will always do a move. which means in this case, for instance, I have the arrow ability, which means I want to wait here and click on myself so that the enemy comes closer on their turn. And now I can use the arrow ability and kill the enemy right off. Pusher bug. How do I... Yeah, that's good. Also, one other thing is that each enemy, when they spawn in a like small baby-ish form. While they're in that form, you can actually occupy the tile they're on and they will not grow any further. Go away. But of course, to progress, you need to kill them off anyway. Winged bug, sure, come here. Okay, so now I think we've covered all mechanics. Let's talk about the game in its entirety. Thanks to the fact that each stage is, or each run is a little bit different based on the way the fields are set up and the different upgrades on each field, you definitely have a certain amount of variety to it. I also believe that the game has a decent amount of depth to it if you're into that type of thing. Personally, I cannot really get in too deep into that. I'm not someone who likes to, I don't know, I can't take this game and like plan each move or plan 5 moves into the future. That's just not something that let's say that I'm capable of doing. What are you? You're an armored pusher bug. So if I move to the left, you're going to push me down, which means I can go over here. That should maybe work. What actually happens if I use my arrow ability to push you off? Okay, then I can push you completely out of here. That's interesting to know. If you want to get far into this game, I do believe you have to really manage the different tile sets to really plan ahead on which upgrade you want on which tile. Because otherwise the later stages will wreck you pretty hard. The other explosive bug that I've talked about is here, destroys the hex it dies on. And that is precisely why not the explosive bug, what I talked about before. That is pretty much why I do believe this game would be amazing on a phone. Because I believe on a phone you could do a single run, which takes, I don't know, 5 minutes tops. Unless, of course, you're incredibly smart and can go to really high waves. I have no idea how those waves look like. But to me personally, that would be something I can do like in 5 minutes, have 1 or 2 tries or something, get a little bit further and just put it away again. It is not a game that I can personally continue to play on my PC. Again, it just doesn't like take my whole focus, which you need for this type of game, if you want to progress very far into it. I just feel that I'd rather, I don't know, not do it. I'm not really sure where I'm going here. I do believe that the game is good. That's definitely something that I do believe. It is just not something that, well, I mean, pretty simple actually. It's not something that I find that enjoyable. I do understand why you would find a game like this enjoyable. I do understand the desire to get as far as possible into in a game like this. It is just not something that I would personally do. However, that obviously doesn't change the fact that this game is decently well made. It is definitely challenging if that's the type of thing you want to go for. And it's just overall pretty enjoyable if you're not an idiot like I am and die in a stupid fashion as I just did. And apparently the game does not believe that I'm very, very good here because the waves that I get to are just good. As you can see, the highest I got to was 22, which to me personally is probably all that's going to be in this game. So with that said, you've seen pretty much everything this game has to offer, unless the high waves offer you much more different stuff, which I don't know, might be, who knows. Personally, I do recommend the game if that's the type of thing you want to play, especially for the price tag of €5. There's not really much you can do wrong here. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope I'll see you next time, and take care.